as is the norm, a quick recap. In the last lecture, correct me if I'm wrong there, in the last lecture we had discussed what? Secularization, right? As well as the criticism of the secularization argument. Am I correct there? Is that what we had covered? Is that what we had begun with in the last lecture? When discussing religion in modern society? Yes? Fine. So secularization means what? It means that there's a decline in the social significance of religion in modern society, right? It is a social process wherein religion, religious beliefs, religious practices, institutions, they all lose their social significance, right? And it is widely perceived that while traditional society or pre-modern society was very religious, modern industrial society does not give adequate or that much importance to religion. Therefore, it is considered a widely secularized society. Then we had discussed various arguments and reasons to explain the secularization argument, quoting scholars like Steve Bruce and Brian Wilson, who suggest that a decline in church attendance, the disengagement of church or organized religion from other important aspects of social life, such as the economy, the education system, the political system, where it earlier once played a very important role and no more does. That is significant evidence of secularization. We had possibly spoken of the growing number of atheists and agnostics. We could have possibly spoken of how religious rituals and practices have been shortened or done away with. Many important life crisis rituals are no more performed in various communities across the globe, particularly in the West, also in India. How the number of marriages and the role of the priestly class at the time of marriage, etc., or the puberty-related rituals, all that has shrunk. How the advancement in the realm of science have dealt a significant blow to the authority of religion, because science now offers arguably superior and definitely alternative explanations of the same phenomena which earlier religion was explaining. With the expansion of rationality, or as Weber puts it, rationalization and bureaucratization, religion has suffered. Comte also posited that society evolves from theological to metaphysical to positive stage. In the theological stage, where religion dominates the mind of man, in the positive stage it is science, right? And even the religious pluralism dents the authority of religion, because no one belief system can claim the absolute monopoly over the truth. And the growth of sects and cults is also understood as evidence of secularization, because these are interpreted to be the last refuge of the secular-minded, of the religious-minded, religiously inclined in a largely secularized society, right? So all this we had discussed that, right? Yes, and secularization of religious institutions themselves, right? How religious authority figures, religious organizations are no more preaching religion, but they have evolved with the keeping, in sync with the market dynamics or changing in response to societal needs, say in America, and in order to remain relevant, they have kind of reinvented themselves, right? So all this we had discussed, and then we had also discussed a critique of this secularization argument, wherein we had noted the difficulty of capturing religiosity using any standardized tools or survey techniques, measurement criteria, etc. There are no, over a long period of time, you would require to apply such kind of measurement tools. Even the fall in church attendance in Europe cannot necessarily be interpreted as a decline in religiosity, because one may argue that religion has become a more private and individualized affair, rather than being on a decline. We also discussed how Durkheim contends that religion continues to hold sway even in the modern society, though the old sacreds may have been replaced by new ones. So, using various such arguments, we had contested the secularization hypothesis, in fact suggesting that possibly this whole romanticizing of the past, right? That the pre-modern people were devout and very religious. Religion governed all aspects of social life in pre-modern times. It may simply be a figment of imagination of the modern man. Even Parsons has argued that it is not necessarily American society is not secularized, but rather Christian values have become generalized in the form of American values. So they permeate the whole American value system, the values of Christianity, right? And then we had discussed possibly secularization in the Indian social context. Had we done that? Please correct me if I'm wrong there. Yes. So thank you. So we had discussed secularization in Indian society, quoting from the writings of M.N. Srinivas, who suggests that today there is little religion in the day-to-day life of an average Indian, right? And then he takes secularization again to mean the disengagement of religion with other social spheres and increase in rationality, very broadly. Now, religion has declined due to anti-religious ideologies and movements like the Ambedkarite movement, Periyar's movement, the spread of modern education, scientific temperament and rationality, modern means of transport and communication. They make practicing caste, which is which finds its basis in religion difficult, caste or untouchability. Then there is the secularizing effect of mass media, right? Many rituals, etc., are being shortened or given up amongst the Hindus, and so on. Then we had also touched upon whether the Hindus are more susceptible to secularization compared to other communities, and M.N. Srinivas thinks so. Reason being that there is no single book, dogma, belief system, or even a centralized church in Hinduism. All of this makes Hinduism that much more, ironically the term is Catholic in character, more open, more liberal, more less definitive on any aspect. It does not demand too much from its adherents, right? And then of course there's this history. Throughout history, Hinduism has been subjected to regular criticisms, challenges, at the ideological level, even at the political level, all of which have sought to make Hinduism that much more prone to the forces of secularization. Okay? So, yes, modern industrialization, urbanization, all of those have also had a secularizing effect on Indian society. So, I think that is pretty much it, what we had covered in the last lecture. Now, moving ahead, staying with religion, of course. So, tell me, friends, can one definitively say that religion has declined, or do you even witness a contrarian trend, that religion is in fact on an upswing in contemporary times? Can we say there is loads of evidence, or some evidence at least, of an upswing in religiosity, or upswing in the social significance of religion? Okay, so some of you suggesting there's a popularizing of right-wing politics across the globe, which is quite correct, yes. That is one evidence for sure. Communal violence. Okay, Modi for many of us epitomizes that resurgence of the centrality of religion. we don't, now Modi and all, it's very good to understand, to connect with, but you don't write that in the paper, right? You definitely do not criticize the incumbent Prime Minister by name in an exam where you have you're trying to become a part of the services, right? The government services. So you can, of course, mention about, you can, use, without naming the BJP by name or this thing, you can simply say resurgence of right-wing politics, or upswing in the political fortunes of right-wing parties across the globe, including the Hindutva movement in India. So some people are taking offense that why is only Modi being quoted and why not the opposite spectrum, which is Islamic revival and fundamentalism. Whether it is in Palestine or in Turkey. Absolutely, friends. Right. So today we are going to discuss religious revival and fundamentalism. Okay, religious revival and what do you call it? Religious fundamentalism. What does the word revival seem to indicate? No, the root word is vivo, right? Viva literally means life, okay? So revive, what do you revive or bring? Literally it means bringing back to life, okay? When you revive somebody, okay? Viva, it's like life force or life. So revive means bringing back to life. What would you bring back to life? Something which was living earlier, has possibly died or declined since then, and now it is being revived, or once again it is being resurrected as if from the dead. So religious revival is literally the opposite of the concept of which concept? When we say religious revival is taking place, it is the opposite of secularization. Why? Secularization implies that religion is declining. Now revival means that once again it is becoming important for society. Right? Say this is a time scale and this is about the importance of religion in society, right? So if it was, this indicates secularization and this indicates revival. Apart from Modi, friends, okay, or apart from the political dimension of it, do you think that religion is declining in India? Forget the political, politics is an important and yes, correct thing you've mentioned, but apart from that, you go to the, you look at the urban landscape in the country, right? What do you see? Where do you find more places of worship? In urban areas or rural areas? In urban areas, friends. In rural areas, they're very sparsely or relatively sparsely populated. Urban areas, you will find a mandir or a tree converted into a place of worship or a stone being worshipped on every choraha, okay, on every city square, on every street, every gully. So clearly, it is in urban areas or rural areas where you see greater footfall in places of worship. Where do you see more chahava or more offerings being made to the deity, whatever material offerings one makes? All these phenomena are taking place in urban areas. Urban India is chock-a-block with places of worship, and these places of worship, what do you call it? If you condone the pandemic times, right, and the strict this thing, these places of worship are otherwise thronging with people indicating in general, a high level of religiosity. You see, and this is not just an urban Indian phenomenon, right? In various parts of the world, across societies, including in the developed West, what one sees is that there is a significant renewed interest in religion, spirituality, scriptures, or reinterpretation, revisiting of the scriptures. A somewhat of an intense religious upheaval seems to be underway, what we call a religious revivalism in various societies. So religious revivalism literally means a reawakening of religious beliefs, religious practices, and religious lifestyle. Now we are so modern, we are so rational, then why are we again turning to this seemingly archaic thing? Something which doesn't make sense. We in the sense, the modern society, modern industrial, particularly Western society, man has made tremendous progress riding on science. Then why, once again, is man turning to religion? Why are so many people thronging, making donations to places of worship, or voting for political parties on the basis of religion, or participating in religious movements? So some of you suggesting it is due to mental stress. Yes, it gives hope. Because till now, all our questions are not answered by science. Now that's interesting, and that somehow seems to suggest that if and when science can explain more questions, religion will further take a backseat. It helps us make an emotional connect. There is anomie. For mental peace, we have nothing to fall upon. Compensation of their sins, that's a very religious view, that's not a social analysis. Because of uncertainty, very important, yes. It is a source of solidarity. It is because of uncertainty. Absolutely, friends. So many of you have rightly identified some of the reasons why religious revival. Because many of you suggesting that science has its limitations, where science cannot explain things, then religion sees an upsurge. We are dependent simply. We need somebody to be dependent upon, and for many of us, that entity notion is God, Almighty, somewhere up in the sky. When science fails, prayers follow. Very eloquently put. To unite people. Social media is contributing to religious revival. Possibly, we do, all of us get those good morning with Sai Baba or Krishnji photos in family WhatsApp groups. Collective effervescence. So it gives us a high, simply. Religion gives us a high, it is being suggested. Just the role of religion and politics has adequately been already commented upon. How about the pandemic, friends? Has it made people less religious or more? I mean, what's your personal take? How has the pandemic affected one's religiosity? On the face of it, yes, clearly places of worship have been shut. Community celebrations of festivities like, say, Diwali or Christmas, etc., they could not be carried out in the business as usual manner. So many of you are suggesting it has made us more religious because, we feel so utterly helpless and then get attracted to these supernatural powers, right? When man feels helpless, he simply turns, as Malinowski suggested, when there are high stakes involved, uncertainty, what do? You turn to religion, right? So possibly, there were people known in India to be started having worshipping, Karuna Mata, or Karuna Devi. Maybe may pray at home, or even the public banging of thalis and lighting of diyas, some would contend, critics particularly would contend, it had that religious kind of symbolism. Or chanting of mantras like Go Karuna Go. And in the midst of the pandemic, yes, we have the head of the Indian Parivar, right? The Prime Minister laid down the foundation stone of building a Bhavya Ram Mandir. And I think the Uttarakhand the Chief Minister was quoted as saying that this thing, the pandemic, Ganga Maya will take care of the pandemic. Now it's this thing, what do you call it? Time for the Kumbh Mela. And we also spent a lot of time watching Ramayana, absolutely. Right. And also, such kind of terrible times, they also test one's faith in God. Why you see people, young people, undeserving people dying, innocent people dying, seemingly healthy and young people dying, all of which test one's faith in divinity. So there's also this the one news started doing the rounds that the corona vaccine, it would contain some elements from certain animals, like cows or pigs, which would, hurt the religious sensibilities of various religious communities. Absolutely. So yes, pandemic is also, and we'll be talking about pandemic in detail at a later stage. But yes, it has also kind of, man is renegotiating his relationship with the supernatural in these testing times, is all I would say for now. Chali. So let us try to appreciate the same themes that you have touched upon, many of you have touched upon, in somewhat of a more detailed and systematic manner. So religious revival, also called as resacralization. Resacralization. Desacralization means becoming not sacred. Something which is sacred becoming not sacred is called desacralization. Okay, which indicates a decline in religious or religiosity. Resacralization means things are now again taking on that sacred hue, which had once become desacralized. Okay, so religious revivalism or resacralization indicates a resurgence of religion in social life, religious beliefs, practices, institutions have once again started occupying an important place in people's lives. Anthony Giddens, friends, he suggests, he's one of the most wonderful, coach-worthy, brilliant, should I say, kind of contemporary sociologists. Giddens suggests that he uses the term late modernity, basically for, the period of globalization, the current period, he terms it as late modernity. According to Giddens, globalization or late modernity lays down the foundation for a resurgence of religion. Lays down the foundation for the resurgence of religion. See, when he's using this concept of late modernity, just to put things in context, I'm explaining now. This modern society which emerged after the French and Industrial Revolutions, okay, so sometime around the 18th, 19th centuries, right? The modern society which emerged, it was characterized by a greater degree of certainty. Modern society was characterized by certainty. This certainty was ensured by a belief in science and rationality. Laws of social evolution. So knowledge was very definite. Society was considered as very neatly organized. From a functional perspective, then people belonged to different social groups and they internalized the shared norms. Even from a Marxist perspective, social life was exploitative, but it was neatly organized. People were neatly, clearly belonging to different classes and in competing relationships. Right? This was the framework of modern society. But late modernity, or what many others call postmodern society, that is characterized by increasing uncertainty. So the belief in science and rationality has been replaced with increasing skepticism. I'm repeating Giddens' sentence. He said late modernity lays down the foundation for a resurgence of religion. And I'm now explaining what he means by late modernity. It is, many scholars contend that modern society was like after the, in the 18th century, till about mid-20th century, there existed what is called modern society. Okay, since after the Industrial and French Revolution, what arose was the modern society till about mid-20th century. Mid-20th century onwards, a post-modern society has emerged, or what Anthony Giddens would call late modernity. If modern society was characterized by certainty, late modernity is characterized by very high degree of uncertainty. People simply are not sure of anything now. Everything is being questioned. One's identity is not very clear cut. For example, am I male or female? Man or woman? At one point of time in modern society, things were very clear. Based on your biological organs, you were classified as either man or woman. But today, when Facebook in USA permits users, or in some countries, I think it is USA, to choose from about 50 gender categories. So there's a lot of fluidity regarding everything. There's this whole debate what pronouns should be used for different people. That you should use the pronoun which I am comfortable with for me. So you'll see many woke people using terms like she or her. That is how I prefer to be called. So just by looking at you and your feminine features, I cannot say for sure that you are a woman. Or by looking at you and seeing your masculine features, I cannot say with surety that that you are a man. Why? Because you internally may prefer to be a woman. Right? So nothing is certain in these crazy times. Now society, including science, is unable to give us definitive answers. Yes, regarding clothing, regarding anything, there is no clear-cut guidelines from the society as such. Right? So, and in these uncertain times, now people are reflexive. Gideon says people are very reflexive. They have to continuously reflect on what they have to do, why they have to do, who they are. Now when times are so uncertain, okay, when nothing is clearly known to mankind, that time religion provides a sense of purpose. It provides a sense of purpose to man's life. It gives us a moral purpose. It also helps to answer existential questions about life. Helps to answer existential questions about life. Existential questions, those big fundamental philosophical ones. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What is my particular purpose of me being born on this earth? How do I contribute to the greater good? How do I become immortal? And should I be pursuing immortality at the first place? What happens after death? We know nothing. And science somewhat has not been able to, modernity, with its bedrock of science, has not been able to give us very satisfactory answers. So, religion is once again being sought. Any other reasons, friends? Another important reason, please appreciate, friends. Modern society is what we call as mass society. Nowadays, society is a mass society. You know, mass society is characterized by, masses, a mass of potatoes. Can you distinguish one potato from another? I'm trying to explain to you what is mass society. In a mass of potatoes, if you have 100 tons of potatoes and you pluck one potato out of it and then you throw it back again, can you find it? Is that one potato distinguishable from other potatoes? Clearly not. Each potato in that mass of potatoes is just like any other potato. It has no significance, importance, distinguishing characteristics of its own. If you take out a potato from a mass of potatoes, will it make a difference to the mass? Any material difference? Will the mass miss that single potato? Not at all. We are still a mass of potatoes. One potato less simply doesn't matter. And that is the nature of modern society. It is a mass society. Meaning what? Every individual is as if indistinguishable from the other. Every individual is like a small drop in this ocean of humanity. There are lakhs and crores of people here. So every individual feels insignificant. As if he doesn't matter, doesn't count. As if he has no distinguishing identity or purpose. Have you ever felt that way? You know, there's this book by this modern day sage guru, lifestyle guru, Robin Sharma or something. It says, who will cry when you die? He's trying to play upon that sentiment. Now, how does the world get affected if you're not there tomorrow? Playing upon that mass society feeling that many of us have. If you ever visited Delhi or happen to, you go to the Rajiv Chowk metro station, stand there for 10 minutes, and you will get that feeling of being in a mass society. You know, if people run you over, nobody will find out. Why? Because it's like a sea of humanity out there. So, point is, individuals in mass society. And you know, this mass aspect, it is also mass-produced goods. This shirt is no unique. When I wear this shirt, I don't feel any unique. Every other guy is wearing this shirt. Same taste, same things, we are consuming everything. And then, of course, there's this huge population, making every individual feel insignificant. In such cases, right, when individual loses a sense of meaning, purpose, and identity, religion provides an anchor. Yes, all Mumbai local trains, I'm sure. You would feel the same way. So, religion provides an anchor. It provides an identity. It provides a sense of purpose, meaning to the individual. That is why people are once again literally seeking religion. I'm sure many of you, at your personal level, if you engage in any sort of religious practice, meditation, spirituality, listening to lectures, spiritual kinds, of say, only today I was listening to Sister B.K. Shivani, her lectures. Why do we do all that? In that search for meaning, right? Do you guys do that? Yes, or Sadhguru, why these guys are getting popular? Or Sandeep Maheshwari for that matter. Yes. So point is, yes, man's search for meaning, an anchor, an identity also takes one to religion. See, a big part of our identity is anchored in religion. My religion also provides me a sense of belonging to a group. In modern societies, man often feels very isolated. Religion gives a sense of belonging to a community of people. So who am I? I'm not an insignificant person, I'm a Ram Bhakt. Okay? Now, also appreciate, friends, when it comes to religious revival, of course, there is the political dimension. Simply put, various social groups, cultural organizations, and political parties, they encourage a religious revival in order to gain some sort of political benefit. As many of you rightly mentioned or suggested, there is a wave of right-wing populist governments in different parts of the world. Whether it is the Hindutva movement in India, please appreciate its fortunes. Political fortunes have been on the upswing over the past 3-4 decades. Right? So say mid-1980s and onwards. So the rise of the BJP politically has coincided with the period of globalization broadly. So whether it is the Rama Janmabhoomi movement in India or the recent conversion of Hagia Sophia in Turkey from a museum into a mosque, or it is popular policies such as opening up of gaushalas, not just by BJP, even Congress governments are doing that in these states. I think when Kamal Nath came to power in this MP, one of the first decisions he took was to open gaushalas in every district. So in other words, friends, certain political formations seek to promote a sense of strong attachment to one's religious identity for reaping political benefit. Likewise, in the West, in the US, there is a strong wave of evangelical Christianity. A strong wave of evangelical Christianity in the US. Conservative Christians are strongly contesting granting of abortion rights to women. Issues like abortion rights, gay marriage. They are suggesting that the Christian ideals should be adhered to and space should not be ceded to feminists or LGBT rights activists. In the Islamic world, in many Islamic countries, there is a renewed interest in Islam, the scriptures as well as the Islamic culture, particularly since 1970s. Why? What was the trigger or possible important reason why 1970s saw an increase in religiosity in the Islamic world, particularly the Arab world, or fountainhead being the Arab world? Anything you can trace it to? It was the discovery of oil and the cartelization by the Arab countries. So the petrodollars that flew in, right? These guys basically stumbled upon oil, and realized that it is a very valuable resource for the global economy. So they formed the OPEC, and so there was a lot of these countries became rich. And please appreciate the promotion of religion, its spread, its ideals, etc. It requires a hell lot of money, and this is where the money was coming from. So that prompted or encouraged, funded religious revival in many Islamic societies. More recently, meaning since 1990s and all, what is happening is, in the context of Islamic revival, please appreciate, Samuel Huntington, he has proposed this concept of clash of civilizations. Basically, many people were very optimistic that after the end of Cold War, right, there would be global peace. Why global peace? Because the divide between the capitalist West and the communist East was the major global tension, which literally kept the world on tenterhooks for that 50-year period, literally, throughout the Cold War period. Now, with USSR going down under, communism falling under its own weight, it was assumed that now a new era of global peace, harmony, brotherhood will be assured in, right? Simply, liberal democracy and capitalism have won with a sense of finality. So there are no major divisions in the world anymore. However, Huntington belied such optimistic, this thing. He belied such optimism. He said that, unlikely, though the ideological divide in the world may have gone, the world will continue to see clashes between civilizations. Civilizations he defined primarily as, based on the religious identity. And most important of these clashes has been the clash between the Western civilization and the Islamic civilization. And almost towards the end of the Cold War, what did we witness? We witnessed first-hand historic proof of this clash of civilizations in the form of the Gulf War. So US literally bombed these, Iraq. And after that, whether it is 9/11, whether it is the US bombing of Afghanistan, right, and then attacks from the Taliban or ISIS, etc., all these are seen as, or can be interpreted as, a clash between the Western civilization led by the leader of the free world, America, and the Islamic civilization. Now, a lot of these so one reason for the revival of Islamic culture and religion in many parts of the globe was what was perceived to be a threat from American cultural, politico-economic dominance. Simply against Americanization, or against the model of globalization in which America is the dominant power. There was an increase in religiosity in many parts of the world in various Islamic countries. And it was not just about, these fundamentalist organizations like Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Even otherwise, there was a resistance to American cultural dominance. For example, many women in Islamic countries have rejected American-style women empowerment, or the Western-style in women empowerment. They have chosen to opt to retain the burqa, arguing this is an expression of our cultural religious identity. So for us, women empowerment does not mean that a woman should be scantily clad as in America. Likewise, many Muslim youth are choosing to retain their, symbols of Islamic culture, like maintaining a beard or wearing the skull cap, against the homogenizing tendency of American culture and its and the globalization, cultural globalization that it promotes. Are you with me on this, friends? So there is increasing public displays of religiosity, flaunting of religious and cultural symbols. Another important role has been played by technology. As some of you also suggested, technology has played or has also helped to spread religious tenets, religious teachings. It has enabled reaching out to a mass audience. For example, televangelists of all shades and hues. This term literally is a coming together of television and evangelists. Right? So those who preach using television, like a Zakir Naik or a Baba Ramdev. So any number of religion and spirituality themed TV channels are there with massive popularity? Are any religion and spirituality themed channels played on a regular basis in your household? Whether it is Astha or Shraddha or so many of these. Sanskar, absolutely. And numerous godmen, men of religion, preachers, teachers, spiritualists, they are reaching out to a very wide audience thanks to the power of television. And you add to that in more recent times, social media. Whether it is WhatsApp forwards, whether it is YouTube channels enjoying massive popularity. Televangelist means those who preach using the telemedium, television. Like a Baba Ramdev or a Zakir Naik, or even a Sadhguru for that matter. Another way in which religious revivalism has been interpreted, friends, is that also appreciate, friends, it is this, before I move to another thing I mentioned, technology has also made it much easier and quicker and cheaper for a larger number of people to participate in public religious activities. For example, pilgrimage has been made much easier. In olden times, imagine very few people could have traveled to Vaishno Devi, a very important religious site for the Hindus. But now you have train service carrying millions to Vaishno Devi year after year. For those of us who are elderly, etc., and with money, of course, you can even take a helicopter darshan. So the network of roadways, railways, buses, various modes of transport had facilitated pilgrimage. Some of the largest gatherings in the world in modern contemporary times are for religious purposes. Which gathering, friends, is the largest peaceful gathering of people anywhere in the world? It is not the Hajj by a wide margin. Yes, it was the Kumbh. The Ardha Kumbh, organized in 2019 in Prayagraj, saw participation of 12 crore people. That is like 10% of India's population, roughly. Crazy we are. Descending on that small temple city for that 3 to 4 months duration. 12 crore whopping population congregated for what purposes? Religious purposes. Hajj doesn't have that kind of a Hajj participation is of the order of about 25 lakhs in a year, if I remember correctly. Okay, so instead, amongst the Muslims, a much bigger, gathering is the Arbaeen festival in Iraq. Okay, it is of Shia Muslims, which has seen recently a participation of about 3 crore people. Just for secularism's sake, let us also mention a large-scale Christian gathering. Pope Francis conducted a Catholic mass in Philippines. Arbaeen is in Iraq, the Arbaeen festival of Shia Muslims. Pope Francis conducted a mass in 2015 in Philippines, which saw the participation of 7 million people. So clearly, friends, religion is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. Right? Also, friends, so religious revivalism is another dimension I had to bring out. I'm forgetting which one. I've spoken of technology and politics. Yes. So another thing, that we have seen that material comfort, material prosperity. Now, Western society, it has been materialist in its orientation, right? So there has been a very strong cultural emphasis on material prosperity, attainment of material prosperity in the West. Becoming rich is a very legitimate, worthy life goal that the American society puts before its people, for instance. And to a very large extent, material prosperity, society-wide, has been attained. They have a very high standard of living as a people, say in stark contrast to us. But once a society becomes materially satiated, it's still, in some members, it's still, a vacuum is sort of felt. That is this what life is all about? Are you with me? So, material prosperity in itself does not lead to a complete psychological satisfaction. It creates or leaves a void, a burning question whether this is what life is all about. Then where do you turn to? So once you become IS and everybody salam thokoing you, then you make a lot of money through corrupt means. Then what do you do next? Then you turn to religion, right? Spirituality. So religion, economic prosperity alone is not possibly sufficient to satisfy all the needs of man. There is consequently a growing disenchantment with the material world. So what will you do if you have a lot of money, fame, everything in the West? You leave everything aside and you become a hippie and come to India, or join the ISKCON movement, or go to a yoga retreat, or join transcendental meditation. Right? A lot of these pop stars and teachers and who would do that? Sort of a disillusionment and disenchantment. But these are bade logon ke choche, right? In the sense, these are the privilege of the moneyed and the those who have made it already. I remember one quote by this fellow, Jim Carrey, right? He apparently is doing the rounds of social media. He apparently said that I want everybody to have loads of money and fame, so that they realize this is not the answer. Okay? So these are the various ways in which religious revivalism can be analyzed. Coming to the related topic of religious fundamentalism. Religious fundamentalism. Now, what do you understand by fundamentalism, friends? See, the root word here is fundamentals. The two are not unconnected, they are very related topics. So, religious revival sees many fundamentalist movements and groupings emerging. So, what do you understand by fundamentalism? For those of you who are conversant with Hindi, the most appropriate Hindi translation for fundamentalist is Kattar. Okay, so, Kattarpanthi is fundamentalist. I hope that gets the meaning across. For those who are not aware, fundamentalist, please appreciate, is a person who emphasizes on the fundamentals of one's religion. Fundamentals meaning what? The key theological tenets. You know, the basic teachings of one's religion. And where are the basic teachings of a religion contained? Where do you get those basic teachings of your religion? In the scriptures. So fundamentalists typically emphasize on a strict adherence to the scriptures. They basically contain fundamentalist movements that, you know, the society has gone astray and it must now once again revert to the fundamentals of the faith. And there should be strict, complete adherence to the fundamentals. Over the years, society has been somewhat corrupted. Decadence has set in. It has become morally corrupt or whatever. And for the society to be saved, it must now once again revert to the fundamentals as laid down in the Holy Scriptures. So is that necessarily wrong? Is there something wrong with fundamentalism? In popular media, you may have heard this term fundamentalism. Is it used in a positive sense or a derogatory negative kind of a sense? In popular media, it is clearly used in a negative sense. Okay, so it's not good to be called a fundamentalist or a Kattarpanthi. Why? If you're following the fundamentals of your religion, why is it taken negatively? Think of it logically. The reason being, friends, why it has acquired a negative connotation? Because the fundamentalists often tend to become very rigid, inflexible, and also intolerant of an opposing opinion or viewpoint. Since they consider that their scriptures are the true, only infallible work, they strongly tend to oppose an opposing religious ideology. And they also often clash with the scientific establishment or the scientific viewpoint. Fundamentalist friends, they tend to argue that the scriptures must be adhered to in totality and without any rereading or any sort of, without any liberal interpretation. Please appreciate, friends, in any religious community, broadly there are two kinds of people. There are the fundamentalists and there are the liberals. Liberals are who? In any religious community. Liberals are those who would argue that religion must be progressive. We must understand the essence of religion and then adapt it as per today's times. Right? So we must take a practical approach. Today we are living in multi-religious society, so we must live in a spirit of accommodation with others. And you don't take the, according to the liberals, you don't take the scriptures literally. Okay, scriptures were written in a particular social context. They are of course profound knowledge, but then we can reinterpret them in the context of the current times. That is the liberal viewpoint. So liberals are considered more accommodating, more adaptive, progressive. In contrast, fundamentalists suggest one must adhere to the fundamentals as laid down in the scriptures. And the fundamentals, they are absolute or relative. What is written in the scriptures from a fundamentalist viewpoint, is it an absolute truth or is it relative? It is absolute. Fundamentals do not change. Absolute truths do not change. So whatever is mentioned in the scriptures must be adhered to as it is. There is no room for liberal interpretation or reinterpretation of the fundamentals. So oftentimes the fundamentalists clash with liberals of their own religion. They see liberals as taking away from the religion, diluting it, corrupting it. They also clash with the scientific viewpoint. Why? Because oftentimes what is contained in the scriptures is in contrast with the findings of modern science. For example, across religions, scriptures contain magical and mystical elements. So, according to the Holy Bible, Jesus Christ rose from the dead. He was crucified, he died, and after a few days he rose from the dead. Science will tell you that is not possible. But the fundamentalist Christian would insist that no, this is exactly how it happened. Or, according to, the fundamentalist would contend that if the Bible says that Jesus Christ was born to Virgin Mary, then so was it. Why? It is contained in the Holy Bible. The word of God cannot be wrong. But science will tell you a virgin giving birth is not possible. Or if the Bible mentions some Jesus Christ walking on water or curing a person miraculously through a touch of hands, then those must be accepted as it is, cannot be questioned. Right? And oftentimes fundamentalists also clash with people of other religions. Why? Because other religious communities, they propose a different set of beliefs, practices, viewpoints or truths. So if the Holy Quran says there is no God but Allah, but Hindus believe in scores of deities, then for the fundamentalist Muslim, the Hindus are not kosher. Right? Or they are in the wrong. So there would be clashes of fundamentalists. So fundamentalists tend to be regarded as somewhat rigid, inflexible, intolerant of an opposing opinion. Right? They're very dogmatic and do not adapt with the times. Are you with me on this concept? Right. Anthony Giddens considers that religious fundamentalists, please note down, Anthony Giddens suggests that religious fundamentalists seek a return to the basics or the fundamentals, comma, consider their own viewpoint as the only correct one, comma, justify their viewpoint by referring to the scriptures, and avoid contact with those who hold other views. According to Maciunas, and in the last sentence of Giddens, avoid contact with those who hold other views. According to Maciunas, Maciunis, the fundamentalists interpret the scriptures literally. So if the Holy Bible said that Christ walked on water, he must have walked on water. It is beyond question. They interpret the scriptures literally, comma, do not accept religious pluralism or secular humanism. Do not accept religious pluralism or secular humanism. Religious pluralism means what? Multiple religions coexisting harmoniously. That is religious pluralism. Secular humanism means what? That seeing a scientific basis or a non-religious secular basis for governing human relationships. That instead of relying on God or divinity to give answers, we will rely on science or rationality for answers. They would reject that. And mostly endorse conservative political goals. T.N. Madan, friends, he makes an interesting point. T.N. Madan Sahab suggests that there are no fundamentalists in a traditional society. Fundamentalists arise when? In which kind of a society? In a modern society or a modernizing society? In a society which is undergoing modernization or which has become modern? Okay? Not in a traditional society. Why? Because in a traditional society, you would expect more religious people. But why should modern society be characterized by fundamentalism or Kattarpanthi rather than the traditional? Basically, fundamentalism arises in response to the challenge to religion from the forces of modernity. So paradoxically, friends, fundamentalism arises because of secularization. This is what he's suggesting. So there is a fear which is generated among the people that religion is under threat. Hindu khatre mein hai. The Islam will be wiped out by this decadent Western culture. Right? So fundamentalism, according to Madan, is a reaction against the marginalization of religion. In modern society. Meaning it is a reaction against secularization. As society is becoming secularized, we are also witnessing fundamentalist movements. Have you understood this? Basically, because religion is declining in modern societies, people or some members of a society start feeling threatened of a religious community. That, oh, my religion may be wiped out. Okay, my scriptures which are so invaluable a truth, they may become, they are not being adhered to increasingly. Consequently, it gives rise to fundamentalist movements. Friends, in any community, in any religious community, whether Hindus or Muslims or Christians or any global community, Jews, which of the two would you expect more? In number terms, numerical terms, more liberals or fundamentalists? The ordinary person you would expect to be a liberal or a fundamentalist. Yes, in any religious community, most people are liberal, right? So they go about their daily life business, adapting religion to suit their personal, practical needs of life and with changing times. But then, in every religious community, you also have a set of fundamentalist groups, organizations, and people. Okay? Now, what happens is because who is typically louder, more in your face, more, who stand out in terms of their religious practices in a religiously pluralistic society? Which of the two? The fundamentalists, they would stand out as literally a sore thumb because they would adhere to their traditional modes of dress, custom, everything, belief system. So they are kind of portrayed, accepted as the representative of the religious community. They literally become the face of the community. Saab baat hai when Arnab Goswami has to conduct a debate. Whom will he call for the debate? A fundamentalist Muslim or a liberal Muslim to talk on Islam? He will call a fundamentalist. Likewise, he has promoted this whole bunch of fundamentalist Hindu seers and saints, right, out there to defend Hinduism, right? So, media somehow thrives on such polarization, for which fundamentalists receive more media attention. Chali. According to Steve Bruce, fundamentalism emerges as a reaction against modernization. Secondly, friends, what Steve Bruce commits, that which religions are more likely to develop a fundamentalist movement? Those which have a single holy book like Islam and Christianity, or those which have multiple holy books like Hinduism? Single book religions are more likely, according to Bruce. Now that may be contested by a devout or a liberal Muslim or Christian, but according to Bruce, religions which have a clear, single, supreme holy book like Islam and Christianity are more likely to develop fundamentalist movements. Reason being, when there is a single book, there is greater what he calls ideological cohesion, right? It is easier to have the people, there would be lesser contradictions, conflicting opinions within the religion. right? According to Bruce, religions with a single holy book, like Islam and Christianity, are more likely to develop fundamentalist movements because they have greater ideological cohesion. Having said that, have there been fundamentalist movements among the Hindus? The Arya Samaj movement, right? Dayanand Saraswati suggested go back to the Vedas. So he held that Vedas are these superb books of knowledge. Right? So just typically, and then again, Arya Samaj movement came in conflict with other religious communities, particularly the Muslims, on the issue of cow slaughter, Shuddhi movement, or the issue of conversion, etc. Yeah, according to Bruce, fundamentalism grows when a religious group believes it has a common enemy. It has a common enemy. For example, Islamic fundamentalists are united by common enmity to America. Yes, so you likewise have fundamentalist movements amongst the Jews, amongst the Sikhs, amongst the Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, or religious communities. Just write a definition if you don't have one. Religious fundamentalism, this should have been in the beginning, if you have space, you can include it there or wherever. Religious fundamentalism means to reaffirm or assert the key theological tenets of one's religion. Key theological tenets of one's religion. Fundamentalist movements consider their scriptures to be the sole truth and beyond question, criticism, or reinterpretation. A good example, friends, a good example of this whole debate on revival and fundamentalist growth, okay, apart from organizations like the Taliban or ISIS, a very in-your-face current day example is this one. What do you call? The Hagia Sophia Mosque. For those of you who are unaware or less aware, Hagia Sophia is a building in Turkey, Istanbul, which was originally a church. Then when the Ottoman Empire held sway, when the Ottomans took control of that area, it was converted into a mosque. Since there was Muslim rule, the church was converted into a mosque. Then when, in the first half of the 20th century, when Turkey as a society was being secularized under the leadership of Kemal Atatürk, that was his name, right? He was like Turkey's Nehru, in a way, in many ways. So, he was also one of the key figures, along with Nehru in the non-aligned thing. So, basically the Ottoman Empire was dismembered and Turkey was brought under this Western secularizing influence, socially and politically. Consequently, under his regime, the mosque was converted into a museum, right? It became then a museum, from a church to a mosque to a museum. And that was seen, it was also declared a UNESCO heritage site and all, right? And more recently, over the past couple of years, what has happened is that this party, AKP party, has come to power in Turkey. The president is Erdogan. Now, AKP is somewhat like the BJP in India, it is like a right-wing political platform. And apparently his political fortunes were somewhat shaky after long years in power. So, what they have done is they have once again declared that building to be or that place to be a mosque. Now, this decision came in for strong criticism from the Western countries, various other things, right? For kind of possibly it would lead to a civil war, or it is kind of it would hurt the sentiments of the minorities, it is unnecessary provocation, or even that it was to divert attention from the economic mismanagement of the government of the day. Okay? So this is the context of the change in, but the deed is done. What is done is done. Okay? Karen Barkey, just to quote some scholars here, suggests that when Ataturk led Turkey secularized Hagia Sophia. Secularized meaning converted into a mosque. From it was a place of worship, it was a mosque, it was converted into a museum. When Ataturk led Turkish state secularized Hagia Sophia in 1934, it was an incorrect move. Because religious endowments are perpetual and inviolable. So the government, according to Karen Barkey, the government was not the owner of the mosque. At best, it was a custodian. Okay? The Turkish government in 1930s, when it was converted into a mosque, it did so. It was a wrong step because the government was at best a custodian and not the owner. Now, recently, what has happened? It has been made into a mosque. Why that has been done? According to Barkey, why the step has been taken to make it into a mosque again? I'm being asked to repeat. According to Barkey, the Turkish government did not have a right to secularize Hagia Sophia in 1930s because religious endowments are perpetual and inviolable. meaning they cannot be violated. The government has no business in turning a place of worship into a museum. Okay, so the government went beyond its mandate in doing so in the 1930s. Perpetual and inviolable. Cannot be violated in that sense, inviolable. Okay. According to Karen Barki, the Turkish government did not have the right to convert Hagia Sophia into a museum in 1930s when it did. Because religious endowments are perpetual and inviolable. They are in perpetuity forever. Right? This is what it means. The government was at best a custodian, not the owner. Now the reasons why it was converted into a mosque recently, in 2020 or so, was because A, to drum up political support and to divert people's attention from economic hardships. You know, Turkey, the West used to consider as the model Muslim country because it had so many Muslims, but it was very liberal, very pro-West and everything. And that compact with the West seems to have been shattered. Right? Turkey is turning towards, this Islamic identity and assertion. Barki suggests, many of you are rightly comparing it with the Indian scenario. That something similar has happened here with the Rama Janmabhoomi movement. Yes. So unless and until there's a direct question, we will avoid criticizing the temple construction, right? Unless we may mention it in just passing or broadly Hindutva movement, right? But Hagia Sophia is distant and doesn't evoke as strong emotions in India, so we can. Barki suggests that it may lead to a civil war and can foster discontent between the Christians and the Muslims. Okay, so that is just putting slightly things in perspective. So with that, we are done with this topic, religious revival and fundamentalism, and we take a well-deserved break.